Well, congratulations. You did it. I mean, it took you long enough, but hey, you got the meeting, and that's a big deal. And as hard as we work to get those meetings, though, is that as hard as we work to prep for those meetings? Most of us maybe jump on LinkedIn for a couple of minutes or jump on their website and hope that that's enough prep to make sure the meeting is glorious. But don't worry, I got you covered. We're going to be exploring the 6 most powerful things you can do in prep of your next live meeting to ensure that it crushes expectations. Hey closers, Jeff here. One of my favorite quotes from Michael Jordan is, everybody wants to be a champion, but so few of us are willing to prep or practice to be a champion. How true is that? And when we prep without direction, we're not prepping. We're just kind of, spinning around in circles. But I've learned over time that there are specific things that we can do that when we do them really adds a lot of wood to the fire. I'm going to share the top 6. Top 6 things I do before every live meeting. And I would argue you should do as well. Check in the links below. We've got others around virtual meetings. So we know that a lot of us do only Zoom calls or virtual sales calls. But for those of us that are still road warriors, getting in front of clients, let's talk about the top 6. First, prepare for a question board. What is that? What's a question board? Well, a question board is that place, or we used to call it a parking lot. That's a place where we would actually write down a question that the prospect asks when they ask it. And why would we do that? Well, sometimes when the customer asks us questions, they're asking us questions that we want to answer, but not when they ask us. Generally, as customers want to build up a head of steam. We want to get to that point later. And if we just say to the customer, oh, that's a great question, but I'll get to that later, and we don't write it down conspicuously in front of them, the customer can feel kind of bad and like, what the heck? I mean, I'm the customer. Why aren't you answering my questions now? You might blow this off. You might forget my question. So instead of the customer getting all weirded out about it, let's just write it up on a big board right behind us. But in order to have that whiteboard, you have to prep for a whiteboard. And this is important. So what I'll say to my customer once they've agreed to meet is I said, hey, listen, Leslie, the conference room you're going to host us in for our meeting on Thursday, does that have a whiteboard that I can erase and use for our meeting? Because I'm a pretty visual person and I like to use a whiteboard when I meet with clients. Now that does a couple of things. Leslie might not have thought of actually preparing to have a conference room. She might have thought we were going to be meeting in her office. I don't want to meet in her office. I don't think you do either. When you meet in a customer in their actual office, she is full of distractions. I'm going to be at the edge of her desk with a tiny bit of real estate and a tiny little chair while she's looking over my shoulder through the glass door. She can see people walking past. They might be looking at her, signaling to her about questions or next meetings. I find it a horrible imbalance of power. So I'd much prefer to meet her in a conference room. You can't fix that when you arrive on Thursday. You have to get ahead of that. She doesn't have a whiteboard in her office, probably. And if she does, it's filled with things she doesn't want to erase. So by asking for the question board ahead of time, not only do I get it, I also get the conference room, which also requires her to do something, which I love in sales. That's some extra commitment. And guess what? When customers get conference rooms, they tend to invite other guests, might just expand the audience. So I get all kinds of benefits from closing for this. So it's a great first step in my prep. Second step, going to do before every call. Going to close for mobile. Got to get the cell phone number. This is where I get it. I get it the moment I close for the question board. So now that I've closed for the question board, Leslie, are you going, the conference room you're going to host us in, does that have a whiteboard that I can erase? Oh, yeah, sure, Jeff, no problem. I'll get the conference room arranged. Terrific, says me. Are you in front of your computer so I can send you the meeting invite? Yes, says Leslie. Great, I'm going to shoot you over an invite. Let me know when you get it. Just got it, she says. Great, hit accept and we're almost done. It's an old sales trick. Hit accept and we're almost done. That's a very direct command I just gave. It's a very direct close. By her hitting accept, she's now telling me she's going to be there. Hit accept, we're almost done. She hits accept. And then finally, I do my cell phone close. My cell phone number, says I, is 617-555-1212. What's yours? That's all you have to say. You've closed for the meeting. You've closed for the conference room. You closed for, are you in front of your computer? You've closed for her to hit accept. Now you gave her the minor major close. You gave her that first. You gave her your cell phone number first. The only thing left to do is for her to give her your cell phone number. She might not want to. She might pause in anxiety and weirdness for 3 or 4 seconds. Just keep your mouth shut. She'll give you that number. She always does. Try it. Put it in the comments. Tell me what happens. Close for that mobile number. You do it right here. Third thing I'll do before every single live in-person visit, send a 3-point agenda. I'll do this maybe 3 or 4 days before that Thursday meeting. It's a good thing to do on a Monday or Tuesday before the live meeting. I don't like to send that, hey, just a reminder, I'm looking forward to seeing you on Thursday. That feels very needy. That feels very salesy. That feels very low value. Rather send something like this. Hi, Leslie, looking forward to seeing you on Thursday. I know from our email exchanges and our phone conversations, you're really eager to know about this particular feature. And I know you also have some questions about how long it takes to onboard. I am confident we're going to answer both of those questions in our hour together. If we have the time to discuss a third topic, what would you like it to be? This is known as a 3-point agenda. If we have time for a third topic, what would you like it to be? Send. It's a great email technique. It is an implicit reminder that we have a call coming. But now I'm engaging her. Has anything changed? Is there something you forgot about? Is there something else you want to talk about? And if she replies with a third topic, guess what I'm going to do? Oh, yes, she says, yes, I have some questions about training, is what she says in her email. I'm not going to wait till Thursday. I'm going to call her right now. Hi, Leslie, I just got your email. What do you mean by training? Tell me more about it. What are you looking to find out? So I can get prepared for that for Thursday. And guess what's going to happen? I'm going to have a meeting before our meeting. This is what urgency feels like. This is what acceleration feels like. So now when I meet Leslie on Thursday, I've already met her. I've already had my first meeting. All from that 3-point agenda. Very, very powerful. Let's talk about the fourth thing I do before every live in-person meeting. If it's multiple attendees, I will go to LinkedIn and I will look at the titles of the attendees. And inevitably, especially if it's more than 3 people, I will see the titles will reflect different departments. Maybe some people in sales, maybe some people in marketing, maybe some people in tech, maybe some people in supply chain, maybe some people in finance, maybe some people in ops. But generally it boils down to what I call big picture, little picture. I got people in the room that are more around the strategy and solving the problem from a high level perspective. And those that are more little picture, where they're more around execution, they're solving the problem from the micro perspective. Maybe you could call it buyer and end user. Some are influencers, some are decision makers. There's a blend, there's a mix. Most sales reps love the idea of a huge audience. I don't. Talk about that in other videos. But if you do have that larger group and I see different titles, I'm reaching back out to Leslie. Hey, Leslie, I just saw in the meeting that this is expanding and I'm thrilled that there are a lot of people on your teams that want to join in our conversation. But I noticed there's some engineers and some folks from the marketing team. I've done this for a long time, Leslie, and I know that when I have a mixed bag of roles, what happens in these early meetings is that in any given moment, half of the room is bored. How do we fix this? And I solicit Leslie to help. And what does fix it mean? I don't know. Maybe we disinvite people and have a second meeting. Or maybe we cut the meeting in half. Or maybe we do some kind of cross agenda. I don't know. But take control of that here. Here's the deal. The normal problems at meetings, I can't fix at the meeting. It's really hard. So you fix it before the meeting and it gives you so much social value and so much interpersonal power. So it's a really good one to do. Big picture, little picture meeting. Let's talk about number 5. There are some questions I'm going to prep for, specifically around my customer's industry and my customer's company. Okay. Find the pain, find the pain, find the pain. I know. Search for the pain, find the pain, solve the pain, sell them something. I get it. You got an hour-long meeting with Leslie. You think we're going to spend the whole hour in the dentist chair drilling cavities, finding pain? That sounds miserable, especially for Leslie. Every single person in the universe operates in their mind as if they were the principal character of their own comic book. Now, maybe they're the hero in the comic book, maybe they're the villain in the comic book, I don't know. But everybody's got a comic book series in their brain, and they're the principal character. The first issue is when they were born, and the last issue is the last issue. Those comic book series are hidden from view, except for the person living it. I've got my comic book series, you've got your comic book series. And when you and I meet, our comic book series connects and intersects at that moment. So for a very brief moment, Leslie's comic book series, my comic book series, is going to meet. Here's the interesting thing about the comic book series. Nobody cares about anybody's but their own. Leslie doesn't care about Jeff's, and I don't care about Leslie's. So when we start talking about our products, we're talking about our comic book. She doesn't care. She cares about her comic book. Now, ultimately, we are going to have to talk about our products and services, but only in relation and in context to her comic book, which means we really probably don't want to preach our comic book until we know a little bit more about hers. So in my prep, I like to read a few back issues. What's her backstory? Where's she come from? What's the origin story of this character? I'm not going to read it to learn as an expert, but I want to see if I can read and discover enough in my prep to open the door for Leslie to share her comic book with me. Because everyone wants to share their comic books. Everyone does. The expression everyone wants to be heard is really everyone wants to tell their comic book story to other people. So, as part of my prep, I'm going to prep questions around Leslie's industry and Leslie's company where Leslie could potentially be a hero. How would she be a hero in her industry? By being a subject matter expert in her industry. How can she be a hero in her company? By bragging about her products and her customers. So I'm going to prep questions through my research that allow her to teach me as a subject matter expert on what's going on in her industry and how she can share with me how she is a hero when it comes to her products, services, and customers. This will only take about 5 minutes of our hour, but it might take me an hour of prep to come up with decent questions to do that 5 minutes. And it's worth it. Because if she shares some backstory with me and she's the hero in this story, she's going to be eager to work. And I'm going to expand the level of context that I can use to maybe sneak in my comic book, and she might care a little. Very powerful, number 5. Finally, number 6, so easy and as well easy to overlook. Personalize all information. If you're like me, which is a busy road warrior, get the logo right on the deck. If you're selling to Hertz Rental Car, make sure you don't show up with the national car rental dongle. If you are selling to Microsoft, don't bring your MacBook. I know that sounds so obvious, but it's not. I remember back in the day, I sold into the tobacco industry. You know what they have in every conference room at Philip Morris? Ashtrays. Do you know what the commissary is at the executive level floors at McDonald's in Schaumburg, Illinois? A McDonald's. Executives take their brand very seriously, and they internalize their brand. Their brand is not just a pretty logo the way it is to us in sales. To them, it's deeply meaningful and deeply personal. It's part of their DNA. So showcase their logo wisely, and heaven forbid you make the mistake of having the wrong logo. And if it's a competitor's logo, you're dead. I don't care how much they forgive you with your painful apologies. Not going to like it. But there you have it. 6 very simple but real ways to ensure that your next meeting really kicks off with a blast. But check out the link in the description. We've got other things you can do for prep when it comes to virtual meetings. We also have some things that you can do during a meeting and after a meeting to ensure its success. But put in the comments. Try these. Do they work for you? How have they worked? And I bet you have a few of your own. I read these comments. And I dip in every once in a while, and I'd love to learn. So tell me some things that you do as well, and have fun with it. You work too hard to get these meetings to have them just be okay because you didn't do the right enough or the smart enough amount of prep. So make sure you make this part of your routine and have fun with it. Happy selling, everybody.